Well, it's an exciting time of year. We obviously got a really good opponent in Tennessee here on Saturday, and it's two teams are having great years. Tennessee's won 7 out of 8 games, and we've already won 21 games, and both teams are ranked. So it's a great environment. Should be a high-level game. Great for the state of Tennessee, but really it's kind of a national game. Both teams have done well, and I think it's going to get national attention.
Looking at this Vols team, what part of their game is the most challenging?
Yeah, the thing that jumps out is their rebounding. They are the best offensive rebounding team historically right now. They get 45% back of their misses. That's an incredible number. They're very physical. They throw different guys at you. And then, the guard play of Gillespie and Nate Ament. They got 2 terrific scorers out there, but the rebounding is a challenge. Not many teams have had answers to that, and hopefully we do.
Tennessee, one of the best teams in the SEC at defensive efficiency. Just what stands out about their defense, and how do you combat that?
Yeah, their defense, they don't make mistakes. They're positionally in the right spot. They make everything go through them and over them. They do get steals. They do things like that. But if you watch them, their technique is right on. It's just hard to earn easy baskets. They box out. They get back in transition. They do a good job of covering you in different places. So it's you watch film of them, you're trying to find angles and ways to score, but it's difficult.
You only had a couple guys last year who were part of this team that played in this rivalry. How much have you had to explain what this means, or have you really had to explain how intense this can get?
Yeah, when it's a game like this, I don't think you have to explain it. We have players from different places, been part of different rivalries. I got a North Carolina guy was part of Duke, and guys at different places understand rivalries. It's obviously amplified. We don't hide from that. You hear about it everywhere you go. And our guys got to control their emotions, focus on their job. That's going to be the most important thing.
What have you found has been the key to success when you guys come back from a loss?
Yeah, it's resiliency. And you have to have that in this league. And I talk to the guys, you got to have it in life. And so we're in the best league in the country. So there's going to be times you get knocked down. You got to get back up and not let it linger. Learn from your experiences, move on. And we lost to Missouri by probably a half inch. And with our guys, it was right after the game. Like, look, let's put it behind us and get ready for the next one.
Do you have an update on Duke?
Yeah, Duke's expected to go. As of right now, he's practiced yesterday. He's had a good week. He hung back, think of Missouri with us so he can train here. And we're expecting him to go.
What's been, or will be, do you anticipate the biggest challenge for him getting back in the fold after missing 5 games?
Well, he's in incredible shape. So a lot of times it's conditioning with players. But talking to my trainer, my strength trainer, Brady, he says he's doing great there. Watching him in practice, he looks really good. I think his rhythm will be good. There's an adjustment. I thought he didn't have an adjustment. He missed a couple of games, and he came back, and then he played against Alabama and came out really hot right away. So what helps him, he's very smart. He watches the game. He understands the game. He's been staying locked in. So if there is a little bit of adjustment, I don't think it'll be for long. We expect him to contribute.
Is there going to be a minutes restriction there?
You got to read the game, but we're not going into the game thinking that. We'll see how he goes, and I probably got to get him out certain times. But as a coach, I feel better when he's on the court, even if it's his first game back. So we'll try to keep him out there.
What does he provide that you guys have missed?
Well, you can kind of just go with the stats. I mean, Duke averages 17 points a game and over 4 assists a game, so he does a lot on the offensive end. He gives us another ball handler along with Tyler Tanner that kind of makes plays out there. Sometimes some plays aren't there. And then his steals are impactful. He might have been leading the league in steals before he got hurt, and I know the stats are different now, but he makes impact everywhere he goes.
You talk about your guys understanding what the rivalries are like wherever they've been. You got your first taste of Tennessee Vandy last year a couple of times. What did you learn about what this rivalry means to this place?
Well, you go Memorial Gymnasium, and we've kind of seen a transformation of us being the dominant team in there and the dominant color. And last year we walk in, and Kentucky, probably had half the building. Auburn, probably the same thing. And so, my main thing is, for us to protect our home court, but also, make sure it's black and gold in there. I know some orange is going to sneak in, but that kind of caught me by surprise last year. Learn from that. So we talked to our guys about it. So it could be a little bit of a neutral environment. I know the Vanderbilt fans there will make up for it by being loud.
There's been some talk lately that the NCAA is interested in expanding the NCAA tournament. What are your thoughts on potential tournament expansion?
Yeah, I'm a believer and they should. I think the game has changed, and there's more teams deserving. I know there's always a fear of having it watered down if you have too many teams in there, but we've seen teams in the first four make it to the Final Four. So I think there's so many players now. When you talk about the international players that are coming, right now college basketball I think is as good as it's been. NIL's got some things that don't make things perfect, but there is a high level of player in college basketball right now. So I think there's more teams deserving.
I know Tyler Tanner wasn't feeling his best the other night. How is he doing now?
Yeah, he's recovering. He's still not 100%, but he's a warrior. He'll fight through anything. He's gonna be trying to ready to play.
I know you mentioned the quick turnaround on the radio the other night. After a game like that, the way it was a heartbreaker, just how quickly did you turn the page? How much film did you guys watch about that, and how much did you just flip it to Tennessee?
Yeah, I mean, right in the locker room from my post-game talk to the guys, we knew what we did right and we knew what we did wrong, and it was immediately move on. And so we started recovery on the plane trip back. We got back at 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, but guys started preparing their mind and preparing their body. We've had similar experiences. We had to go from Texas and then play Florida at a similar time. It's not easy. It really is the hardest turnaround in the league, but the training staff's working. Our players will be ready. They'll be excited.
You've mentioned a couple times throughout this season, this team has had to reinvent themselves at times, depending on who you have out there, the situation. When it comes to tomorrow's game with the tough turnaround, what team needs to be out there? What team needs to show up?
Yeah, I mean, we've had to play different styles, depending on who's available. And, the team that we thought we were going to have, we haven't quite had, really since December. But given the grass credit and the staff credit, we have reinvented ourselves and figured out ways to win through all that. Getting Duke back out there makes us more comfortable. It helps us out. I can limit some guys' minutes that have been wearing them out. But, we're trying to beat a really good team tomorrow. We're all going to be at our best, myself and the players included.
Every team always searches for consistency week to week and even during the game for 40 minutes. In this league, and especially just the way the season goes, is that almost like an unattainable goal?
Well, it definitely is the goal. I don't think there's any team that's going to be out there that doesn't have some moments of inconsistency. I think it's too tough. You're going against other teams who are well coached and good players, and the environments on the road in the SEC are incredible. The places you go and it's what you're trying to do on the road. So there's challenges all along the way, and the key is to overcome them. And if you do kind of face something that's adversity, or you got to overcome that too. So. I don't think there's any team out there with the length of our season and the guys they're going against that can sit there and say we play flawless basketball. That's a dream, but hopefully we play really well and just find a way to win. Whether it's bad moments in the game or whatever else, you got to find a way to win at the end.
The end of that game last year was just electric, and especially the court storm and everything. Do you expect a similar atmosphere tomorrow?
We anticipate the atmosphere being incredible. I told the guys, when you play Tennessee and you play somebody like that, it does feel different. Like you can feel something in the air that's a little bit different. But you got to focus on the job at hand. If you're worried about the wrong things, you're not going to take care of business. And the good thing is we're not in the court storming this year. We're saving money. That's the least of our worries. I mean, we're trying to beat a good team tomorrow.
Jalen Carey transferred to Tennessee, and he said that, that was the hardest coaching that he'd ever gotten. How do you feel about facing him now for the first time?
Yeah, so I actually said beginning of the season, I was like, I'm not going to talk about Jalen until the game. And so now it's appropriate. My feelings on Jalen Carey, I put a lot into him personally. And for his development and to help him grow, for the recruiting process, at James Madison and also here at Vanderbilt. So this probably is going to surprise people, but when you put a lot into somebody, I'm cheering for him. I want him to be successful. I want him to be a good person. I want him to be happy in life. And it's just an investment I make in any player. And so when you're like that and you put a lot into somebody, you want that for him. And so he's all at a different school right now. That's the path he's chosen. And years from now, I'm hope he's a great father, great person, and hopefully I was a big part of that.
With the investment that you did put into him, does that make the separation that much harder?
It's almost natural now in college sports. you know, it's hard as a coach when you really do want to pour into somebody and you do that and you help them through certain things, and then they might be gone when the season's over for whatever circumstances. I don't like that part. You know, we just had alumni weekend last weekend. A lot of those guys were here at Vanderbilt for 4 years or 5 years, and they had a homecoming. I think that's what it's about. I wish that, but it's just something, you know, I hate to sound old school, but I don't like that part of it. But then at the same time, I got to make sure that I'm evolving, because it probably is what's going on right now.